first introduction to mindfulness meditation was in 1997. I was about 25 years old. I went to India, and about a week into my trip to India, I was at a Vipassana meditation center. I was in for a 10-day silent meditation retreat, and I didn't know what to expect, but kind of threw myself into it. And it was amazing, and it was life-changing, and I want to talk to you a little bit about what it is. So mindfulness is really a term in English that attempts to translate the words, the Pali word. The Pali is an ancient language from India, sati, that means well, mindfulness or awareness. The practice of satipatthana or vipassana, which is insight meditation, is considered to be the original teachings of the Buddha. And I want to make sure that we're talking in the same terms here tonight. There's no ism in mindfulness meditation, no Buddhism or any other ism. It is very much a practical practice that has nothing to do with religion. You can happily practice mindfulness meditation alongside any other belief or faith that you're holding without having to change a thing. When I was doing my first Vipassana meditation retreat, there was no one mentioned the word mindfulness. So when we were trying to talk about what it was that we were doing, we kind of called it awareness in real time. That was the best term that we could come up with. But there are a few great definitions for mindfulness that I found. The ability to notice and pay attention to what is actually happening around and inside of us at each moment, or paying attention in a particular way on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally. And actually, just yesterday, I came across a wonderful definition, so I wrote it down so I can read it to you. It said, mindfulness is the clear attention to the flow of experience in the present moment without grasping at what's pleasant or pushing away what's unpleasant. And it's a really good point to keep in mind, because if you notice the happenings in your mind at all, if you ever sat down, was quiet for a while, and tried to watch what is going on inside your mind, you will find that most of the things that go on in your mind are either in the past, or they're in the future, or they're dealing with being annoyed at something that happened that you didn't want to happen, or trying to cling to something that you want but is going to be taken away from you. This is life. The things that we don't want are going to happen. The things that we want to have are going to be taken away. Things change all the time, and the grasping and the trying to push away. And this is where Buddhism actually comes into play here, because Buddha did say that one of the main reasons for human suffering is that trying to grasp onto what you want and what is pleasant, and trying to push away the things that are unpleasant. These things are bound to happen all the time. And if you can't cultivate a sort of an equanimous state of mind that accepts the things as they're happening right now in the moment, or accepts the things that have already happened, or trying not to always grasp or push away, then you're bound to be miserable. Sorry. But that is life. I know, right? You thought you had it figured out. But let's look for a moment at what does happen in the mind in the process of cognition or perception. So the whole process is quite automatic, and there's not a lot that we can do about it. This is generally what happens. You receive some kind of stimulus from the outside. You see something, you hear something, you get a sensation on your body. It's all received by your sense organs. Then your brain recognizes it, either from memory, or you make some kind of a deduction. You kind of figure out what it is that you're seeing or hearing or feeling. And then there's a physical and emotional reaction, which kind of happens simultaneously. You have some kind of a physical reaction to the perception that you've had, and quite automatically you have an emotional reaction that comes with it. All of these things happen, and then we have a response. We either have a response in our brains, we think something about the perception that we've just had, or we say something about it, or we do something about it. This whole process is quite, well, the first 3 parts of this process are really quite automatic. There's not much that you can do about it. This happens, you know, in milliseconds in your internal apparatus of how you perceive and make memories and all of that. But there's something that you can actually do before you respond. And most of us walk around, well, pretty much all of us walk around in this life with patterns, with habits that we've developed a long time ago. Things that were maybe useful once when we were kids, that were, you know, vital to our survival, or just habits that we've developed because we were maybe too lazy to think about it and to do anything about it. And we react without thinking. We react as an automat. I'll give you an example. You're walking down the street, you see someone coming towards you that you don't like. To top that off, that person says something to you that's offensive. Right away, you get an emotional, physical reaction. Your heart rate goes up, you start perspiring, maybe you become all red in the face, and if you don't know any better, you will either, you know, think something very rude in your brain, or actually say something or do something about it. Mindfulness is the tool that gives you a break. It comes in and around kind of this place here in the process and allows you, as a practice, when you are practiced in it, when you've done it for a while, when you kind of are familiar with the workings of your own mind, it gives you an out. It gives you a break where you can actually have choice, where you can actually decide how it is that you want to respond to what is happening. How you do it is quite simple, but it's not easy. It's a simple process of observation without reaction, but it does take time and it does take practice. And you can see, if you're thinking about how all this thing takes place, you can see how it can be quite useful. It can be useful in maybe treating things like anxiety and depression. It can be useful in general, well-being and happiness. If you have choice in how to respond and you don't, just keep berating yourself on how you reacted without thinking, you can enjoy a bit more peace of mind. It can be great at, getting kids to regulate their reactions, their responses, to get adults to regulate their behavior. And of course, I'm not the only one who thinks that it's such a great thing. And there's been tons and tons of studies that have been done about mindfulness and mindfulness meditation practices. And they're all kind of overwhelmingly finding that these are great practices, that they have great results. And I want to share with you some of the things that they've found. One amazing thing that they found in studies that have been done on people that have been in the practice of practicing meditation for a long, long time, they found that their brains are actually different. Their brains are different than people who don't practice meditation. And the things that they found, for instance, brain regions associated with attention, introspection, and sensory processing were thicker in meditation participants. It's not just the things that they do, it's actually their brain that is different. We all experience a thinning of the cortex as we age, and they found that with people who practice meditation for many, many years and are adept at it, there's an actual thickening of the cortex rather than the thinning that happens with age. I find that amazing. Long-term practitioners of meditation have structural differences in brainstem regions concerned with cardiorespiratory control. That also is amazing. People who practice meditation are potentially healthier. And then they've done studies on the benefits of meditation in the field of immunity. They found that the practice of meditation helps the immune response. It makes it more efficient with things like influenza and other antigens, and again, get people healthier. And there's tons of studies that have been done that found that mindfulness meditation is very effective in treating anxiety disorders, depression, panic attacks, things like that. But there's not much good in talking about meditation. It's kind of like trying to explain the value or the qualities of the color yellow to someone who's never, has been blind from birth. You don't know how it is until you actually try it. So I'm going to get you to try it. So if you wouldn't mind, place both your feet on the floor comfortably. And you can rest your hands in your lap or on your thighs or anywhere where it feels comfortable and natural for you. And close your eyes. If you're very uncomfortable closing your eyes, you can keep your eyes open, but keep them kind of downcast so that your gaze is low and soft. And take a moment to just settle. Settle into your seat. Feel your feet on the floor, your body on the chair. Let your spine grow a little taller. Notice at first a few things around you. Notice the things that you can perceive with your senses. Any sounds, this sensation of light on your eyes maybe, smells. And then start noticing your breath. Just the way your breath flows in and out naturally. Don't try to change it. It doesn't have to be deep. Notice maybe the way your chest and belly rise and fall with the breath. Notice the sensation of the air flowing through your nostrils or your mouth. Or simply be aware, right now I'm inhaling and right now I'm exhaling, that's all. And when you find that you're distracted, just gently bring your mind back to the breath. You can gently open your eyes. Maybe you need to stretch your arms. How was that? Weird? Hard? Easy? Okay?
Pretty easy.
Pretty easy?
Too short.
Too short, yeah.
Too short.
So I think a lot of people find, especially, I've definitely found that the first times and even now when I sit down to try and meditate, that it's very hard to keep the mind focused on one thing at a time. This is what mindfulness meditation, in whatever technique it's going to use, it's going to ask you to fix your mind onto one thing, whether it's your the sensation that you have at the moment or the flow of your breath. It's going to ask you to stay on one thing at a time, and it's really hard. The habit of the mind is like a monkey jumping from one thing to another, and it's very hard to bring it to stay in one place. It takes practice, and with practice it becomes better. So I want to give you a few tips for a successful self-practice of meditation. Try to develop a kind of a detached curiosity about your meditation practice. What a lot of people find hard with meditation is that they get bored. Try to think of your process as if it was some kind of a scientific experiment. Eliminate the me, my, the self from the process. You're watching something happening. There's a breath. There's a sensation. Oh, now there's anger. Oh, now there's something. Eliminate the me from it, and it'll be a lot more interesting, and you won't be attached to whatever comes up. And whatever comes up, try to just watch it and let it be and not react to it. That is the practice of not responding. Set yourself attainable goals. When I did my first meditation retreat, they asked us at the end to practice for 1 hour every morning and 1 hour every evening. That never happened to me. I practiced for a long time. I was able to do 1 hour in the morning, but never 1 hour in the evening. But what if you can spare 5 minutes? What if you can spare 10 minutes in your day, 15 minutes in your day? Anyone can spare that. And any time is better than no time at all. You don't have to sit on the floor. You don't have to sit on a cushion. You don't need to cross your legs or say Om or light an incense or candles. But it is nice if you can have a nice space for your meditation where you don't have any distractions. Maybe you have things around you that make you feel inspired. Make sure it's private and eliminate distractions. Turn off the phones. Shut the door. If you have kids or pets, make sure they're not going to interrupt in the time that you're taking for yourself for your meditation. That helps. Find a routine that works for you. It doesn't have to be something that works for someone else. And remember to be kind to yourself in your process. It's hard. It's really hard work, and it's the best thing you can do for yourself. So stick with it, be kind to yourself, and good luck. Thank you.